Are we close to them? Who's mine? Call to order. All are present. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
We have a motion, do we have support?
I'll second.
Okay, we have Jim and Michelle. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Agenda is approved. Approval of the minutes from the BOC meeting of June 25th, 2026.
Motion approved.
We have motion to approve. Do we have support?
I'll support.
Motion and support. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Minutes have been approved. Claims and accounts.
Claims and accounts for June 26, 2026 through July 9th of 2026. Claims in the amount of $15,116.93. EFTs, $215,730.34. Desk checks, $85,838.08. For a total of $316,685.35. Make a motion to approve claims and accounts.
And I'll support. Any discussion? Claims or accounts? Roll call, please, Cheryl.
Madison.
Yes.
DeBrent,
Yes.
Hardees,
Yes.
Peltier,
Yes.
Hamlin. Yes.
Claims and accounts have been approved. Limited public comment. Public comment.
My name is Dick Wolf, and I'm the president of the Lake Avalon Property Owners Association. I'm here to thank you as commissioners and your very able administrator, Dawn Hubbard, for your continued support of our boat wash that we have over at the public landing on Lake Avalon. We have a professional water quality company that comes every second year to check to see if we remain invasive free. And they report that we are one of the very few lakes remaining in the area that is still invasive free from aquatic plants. And they have told us that we are the cleanest and clearest lake in the state. That is very much as a result of your help in keeping that boat wash operating to remove the invasive species from the boats that launch at that public landing. So I thank you for your continued support.
Public comment.
William Houston, Atlanta Senior Center. 2/3 of the building has been demolished. We're having an adjuster come out in 2 weeks to help us decide on what the next phase will be, total demolition or preservation of the structure as it now stands. We've asked in the newspaper for community input and participation in a committee so that we can get some direction in terms of what type of building we eventually want to build. Our main concern is that we don't know the direction of MACOA and the centers. I asked at the last MACOA meeting, can you guarantee us for the next 5 years that you will not go to the one center program? And we've not heard a response. and we're waiting for that, because that impacts our plans in terms of building or designing and building a new senior center or community center. Thank you.
Public comment? Okay, that ends our public comment period. There are no special presentations. Department head reports, there's none. Committee reports. Michelle?
I just have the FTS.
Blake?
Yes, I have Thunder Bay Transportation. That took place at 2 o'clock after our last board meeting on the 25th. And it was a pretty quick meeting. There was a bit of conversation about the new roof that went on. That's been a big concern and the reason that we've had so much problem with that building. And this time around with the redesign and the new application, the very last sheet went on during a rainstorm and it stopped all the leaks. Everything is high and dry now. So we're very, very happy for that. Our program for the kids, where the kids ride free during the summertime to the Boys and Girls Club, took off right after school let out. That's been doing great. We have a new bus. The new bus is, I just seen it here. It'll be on the road next week. Well, actually, it should be on the road now, because this was 2 weeks ago. And we have an employee appreciation day, which, as I understand it, is when one of our employees is getting close to retiring, or within the week before they retire, they have an employee appreciation day. And we just had an employee retire after 30 years, 31 years, I believe it was. They had a very, very nice turnout, had a very nice buffet, and very well received by all the employees. So we're going to continue with doing something like that.
What about the bringing the service to Montmorency County?
Well,
Where are we in that
she
process?
talked about that here.
Right.
And it was not talked about at our board meeting, because when she was here, she said there's information she has to put together in order to get that.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that at our next meeting, at the end of our next board meeting here, that's when I'm going to hear something about it.
Yeah.
That letter of
Just a
support was
timeframe.
completed too.
Pardon?
Yeah.
I did get that letter of support back to her that day.
Okay.
Yeah. I have mentioned in our board meetings the need that we have here. It's great.
Right.
And that's something that I've been pushing for, but I'm only one on the board. But they have also discovered, since they've grown and started branching out, that holy cow, Montmorency is really in a
Yeah.
bad way. So this is the reason why Angie's pushing, trying to
Right.
get that going here. So, and I think it's positive with 2 buses at 2 different places here. I think that's a positive move.
Yeah. Anytime, any time of the year is difficult for people, but especially looking into fall and
Correct.
winter, people are definitely struggling
Yeah.
for rides.
Yes. So
Okay.
that's all I have.
So just keep us on the,
I will.
just keep asking.
I
Jim?
will.
Excuse me, landfill. Excuse me. Rainfall, they had 2.3 inches of rain up there.
Wow.
At the landfill. Also, there's a dump trailer there, and I didn't know there was, you could take your garbage there in a bag and drop it off. They had moved it up on top of the hill because people were bringing trash, beds, et cetera, and dumping in there. It's strictly for garbage bags. And it's down at the bottom and it's the entryway, and it's a big dumpster to put stuff into if anybody wants to bring stuff out. I never knew it was there, but you take your garbage there. And other than that, the rain has really done a number.
Is that for the entire county or is that just for this area here?
Well, it wasn't St. Ives, the entire county,
Just the
Montmorency.
landfill, for anybody that goes to the landfill, they had a dumpster, big dumpster at the bottom of the hill, so they didn't have to go all the way up into the landfill for garbage bags only. And it was being abused by people putting household furniture and all kinds of junk in there that wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be there. So they moved it up to the top of the hill where they could keep an eye on it, and people were complaining a lot about having to
Yeah.
go all the way up there to.
That's why they shut down the one in
Be
Yonah.
moving it back down and try to get signage and whatever, to try to keep people from dumping things in there they shouldn't be dumping in there.
Are they gonna do a camera or something?
That's
that
what
they can-
talking about a
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah, probably not, but they're gonna try the signage first and hopefully people can take the hint that they.
A sign that says bags only.
That's good to know.
Just need more of them.
Yeah.
That's all.
Is that it?
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Nothing other than the landfill, but Jim already covered it.
Okay, and all I had was FPS from the last meeting. Controllers report?
You guys have a copy of the 2026 revenue and expenditure report. I went to the department heads, so we'll get budget adjustments that they needed and get that updated. I also sent out preliminary 27 budget request forms, so every department can start reviewing those and get them into me, so we can start working on budget requests for 27 and start putting preliminary numbers together for that. We were approved for a qualifying statement from 2025, so that's all set.
What does that mean?
So every year after our audit, I have to fill out a qualifying statement form with the treasury, and they will then approve. That means that if you ever needed to go for any kind of financing or any kind of especially like with our debts for like how often, stuff like that, you have to have a qualifying statement to be able to get approval for those kinds of things. So every year after audit, you have to submit the form with that. And so we are approved. We have the approval letter. So we're good to go for this year.
So how is that related to the cap?
Nothing. It has nothing to do with it. It's just in our financial standings.
How
So-
long does that normally take to get a response from them?
They get back to me within a day or two.
Okay.
They're pretty quick. So that approval letter is good to go. And the audit, the pension report, the OPEB report, they've all been submitted to the state of Michigan. And they've also, I posted everything up on our website. So that's all viewable for the people if they want to come and check it out. I did receive our MERS actuarial valuation from MERS. And so I'll review that and get back to you with what our updates will be for fiscal 27. So I'll have that update at our next meeting with that. I will be putting the millage proposal review for the Headley that we talked about on the July 23rd meeting. We'll have to have that reviewed just because it has to be up certified and ready to go before August 11th to be on the ballot. Working on the court security updates so we can get new policies in place. Just a reminder, tonight is the MTA annual picnic at 6 o'clock if you're attending that. Last week, Lindsay's office had the BSNA training that was conducted that went over well. I think she found it very useful. He did come up and we sat down, Lindsay and him and I went over some stuff. So we got some things taken care of on our end. He also was able, I think, to go out to the sheriff's department and do some training out there and just show little tips and tricks. And if any other departments wanted to take advantage of it, he was able to go around and do that as well.
So if
And then-
the treasurer has questions going forward, it'll be more like she can just call them.
Yep. Yep. And then also, while he was here, we reviewed the ways to work on the component units to make it more streamlined. So we sat down and worked out a system so that all of our component units are using the same system for tracking revenue and report, paying out the payables every month. So that the road commission, library, and McCullough are all being paid the same way so that it's being done the same way. And we're not gonna have any of those discrepancies that she had last year. So we instituted a new way to doing that. So we're gonna work on that and see if that works for us moving forward. So she doesn't have any overpayments that happen. So new steps, we'll see how that works. That's it for me. Well, I'll just let you know, you guys all received Lindsay's report on the bank numbers too. She emailed that to you. Everybody got a copy of that? Okay.
There's nothing under discussion items. We don't have any unfinished business. The new business is the soil erosion ordinance and fee structure update. So do you want to? We got the ordinance in our package. Do you want to read it first, or do you want me to read it?
Do you want me? I have the, you want me to read the resolution or the ordinance itself? Which part first?
Well,
So first, okay, I'm gonna put up on the screen. We had an old resolution or an old ordinance from 1994. And it was updated in 96, then again in 99. And Joe is he's right here online. He is our soil erosion officer, and he came to me and said, we really need to update our fee schedule and we need to update our ordinance. It's completely out of date. He brought to me some examples from other counties, and he said, we really just need to get this up to date. I'm gonna share this on the screen so you can see what it looks like, our old one. Slowly. So this is our old ordinance. Like I said, it's from 1999. Last update in 1999. Quite old. It is, I want to say, how many pages is it? I can't even tell you how many pages it is right now. But there's things in there that we don't even do in Montmorency County anymore. And so we streamlined it. We sent it to our attorney. Joe, which county, do you remember which county you kind of mocked it off of? Do you remember which county you used it?
Well, we used to do a lot more with soil erosion back in the day. We used to take care of all the oil sites in the county when they were installed. So we had to inspect all them. And there's other things in here that we don't do, and it makes the ordinance kind of obsolete for finding anything or going through it. So I put this one together that covers what we do now and protects the county and takes care of making sure that everything's covered.
Joe, I have a question for you. So when we have this ordinance, what happens when we have like a weather event, such as the flood that we just had? Does that trigger you to go check certain areas, or how does that play into this ordinance?
It really doesn't have anything to do with this. What I still have to check all the sites to make sure that the event didn't cause more damage, and if it does, what the person has to do. And it did cause damage with a lot of the silt fences that were installed for the project, because we had so much water that people had to redo a lot of them. But other than that, just to protect the properties and the neighbors' properties from erosion is what I do.
As you can see, the old one was quite extensive.
Yeah.
It went on and on. So this ordinance that you have in front of you is one that we had the attorney review, and then we sent it to Eagle, and Eagle reviewed it. They gave any notes. There was one required note change they gave us, and then they gave us 2 options. So then we sent that back to our attorney, and he agreed with them. He put it right back into the ordinance. And so what you have in front of you has what Eagle asked to have added. and the attorney agreed to, Joe agreed to. So that's everything that Eagle and everybody is good to go with.
What was the addition?
Oh, I have to pull up the email was the exact words. They were it was very simple notes. This also goes in front of the conservation district. They have a chance to comment on it and make any notes, and they did not have any comments.
Oh, so it already went to the soil conservation.
Yep, that's what Eagle does. They send it to them and they give them an opportunity to, and they did not have anything. Okay, so the email from. And in the meantime, when we sent it to Eagle, there was a changeover from who we were dealing with, that he left and went to another spot. So we ended up with a different person. That was kind of the holdup we had at Eagle. Other than that. Okay.
Eagle is really just a new name for the DEQ. And it's Environment Great Lakes and Energy, but it's actually a DEQ with a new name change.
Okay, so included is one required edit that must be completed prior to Eagle's approval of the ordinance. Following the required edits, I have also listed optional suggestions with rationale. Inclusion of these is at the discretion of the county. The required edit in section 6, fees, permits, exemptions, and waivers. Not all exemptions were included. Please add a line stating and other activities exempted in section 9115 and 9115A and rule 323.1705. That was the only thing he asked us to add. Suggestions, optional. Consider adding language such as a permit will also be required if a violation, off-site sedimentation, occurs on a site that is otherwise exempt from a permit, or a permit is required if it is included in corrective action notice written pursuant to section 9117 or the corresponding section of this ordinance. Rationale, without this language, the agency lacks clear legal authority to require a permit following a violation. Requiring the permit allows the agency to recover compliance costs and may simplify subsequent enforcement because violations would then constitute non-compliance with the permit and or approved plan. And then number 2, under section 2, purpose, remove the word after or revise the language to something like during and until site stabilization, as part 91 does not provide authority after an earth change is completed. And sometimes people believe part 91 plays a role after after the site is stabilized and the permit is closed out. So those are the only changes that he suggested. So there was not much to be done.
That was maybe what I was interested in because it has to do with the agriculture and logging.
Okay. So you want me to read this out?
Sure.
Okay. An ordinance to provide for soil erosion and sedimentation control within the boundaries of Montmorency County. Designation of enforcing agency, soil erosion and sedimentation control permits, exemptions and waivers, fees, inspections, enforcement, penalties, severability, and repeal. People of the County of Montmorency, Michigan do ordain, section 1 name, this ordinance shall be known and cited as the Montmorency County Soil Erosion and Sedimentation Control Ordinance. Section 2 purpose. The purpose of this ordinance is to prevent soil erosion and off-site sedimentation within the County of Montmorency by requiring proper provisions for water disposal and the protection of soil surfaces during earth change activities and until site stabilization to protect adjacent properties and the waters of the state. Section 3 authority. This ordinance is adopted by authority under Part 91, Soil Erosion and Sedimentation Control of the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act, 1994, PA 451, as amended, Part 91, and the administrative rules promulgated under the authority of Part 91 are hereby incorporated by reference. Section 4, violations and penalties. A, violations, any person, partnership, limited liability company, corporation, or association violates or fails to comply with any provision of this ordinance shall be responsible for a municipal civil infraction or other remedies as set forth in Part 91. Every day that such violation continues shall constitute a separate and distinct offense under the provisions of the ordinance. Nothing in this section shall exempt the offender from compliance with the provisions of this ordinance. The Montmorency County prosecutor or his appointed agent shall conduct prosecution for violations of the ordinance. B, penalty for violation of this ordinance. A person responsible for a municipal civil infraction under the ordinance may be ordered to pay a civil fine of not more than $2,500. 2, a person who knowingly violates this ordinance or knowingly makes a false statement in an application for a permit or in a soil erosion and sedimentation control plan is responsible for the payment of a civil fine of not more than $10,000 for each day of violation. A person who knowingly violates this ordinance after receiving notice of determination under section 9112 or 9117 of part 91 is responsible for the payment of a civil fine of not less than $2,500 or more than $25,000 for each day of violation. 4, civil fines collected under this section shall be receipted and deposited with the Montmorency County Treasurer. C, notwithstanding any remedy and penalty provided in this section, the county may maintain an action in its own name and in a court of competent jurisdiction for an injunction or other process against any person to restrain or prevent violation of Part 91, the rules, or this ordinance. Section 5, enforcement. Designation of enforcing agency. The Montmorency County Building Department is hereby designated the Montmorency County Enforcement Agency responsible for the administration and enforcement of Part 91 within Montmorency County. The soil erosion and sedimentation control officer, building inspector, or designee shall have jurisdiction throughout Montmorency County for the administration and enforcement of this ordinance, including all amendments hereafter adopted, except for those earth change activities. 1, exempted in Part 91 and the rules promulgated under Part 91. 2, permitted by a municipal enforcement agency pursuant to section 9106 of Part 91, or 3, undertaken by an authorized public agency pursuant to section 9110 of Part 91. The building inspector or designee are hereby authorized to issue municipal civil infraction citations directing alleged violators of this ordinance to appear in court. B, stop work orders. The use of stop work orders is expressly authorized under this ordinance. C, right of entry and inspection. No person shall refuse to permit the soil erosion and sedimentation control officer to inspect any premises at any reasonable times, nor shall any person molest or resist the control officer in the discharge of his or her duties. Section 6, fees, permits, exemptions, and waivers. A, fees shall be established and periodically revised by a resolution of the County of Montmorency Board of Commissioners. Fees will be doubled if work is started without a permit. B, a landowner or designated agent who contracts for, allows, or engages in an earth change shall obtain a soil erosion and sedimentation control permit in the landowner's name unless exempted or waived in subsections 6C or 6D. Before commencing an earth change that 1, disturbs 1 or more acres, or 2, is located within 500 feet of the water's edge of a lake or stream, or 3, is within 500 feet of a regulated wetland. C, a permit is also required if a violation off-site sedimentation occurs on a site that is otherwise exempt from a permit, or if it is included in a corrective action notice written pursuant to section 917 or the corresponding section of this ordinance. D, a soil erosion and sedimentation control permit is not required for the following. 1, plowing and tilling of land for the purpose of crop production or harvesting of crops and other activities exempted in sections 915 and 915A of Part 91 and Rule 323.1705. 2, earth changes associated with the logging and mining industry. However, all earth changes associated with these activities shall conform to the same standards as if they required a permit under Part 91 or the rules. The exemption from obtaining a permit under this subsection does not apply to the following. A, access roads to and from the site where active logging and mining is taking place. B, ancillary activities associated with logging and mining. C, the removal of clay, gravel, sand, peat, or topsoil. 3, earth changes associated with well locations, surface facilities, flow lines, or access roads relating to oil or gas exploration and development under Part 615. Supervisor of wells, the NREPA, provided that the permit application to drill and operate contains a soil erosion and sedimentation control plan that is approved by the department under Part 615. 4, normal road and driveway maintenance such as grading or leveling that does not increase the width or length of the road or driveway and that will not contribute sediment to the lakes or streams. 5, an earth change of a minor nature that is stabilized within 24 hours of the initial disturbance and that will not contribute sediment to lakes or streams. E, the county soil erosion and sedimentation control officer may grant a permit waiver for an earth change location located within 500 feet of the water's edge of a lake or stream after receiving a signed affidavit from the landowner stating that the earth change will disturb less than 225 square feet and the earth change will not contribute sediment to a lake or stream. Section 7, savings clause. If any section, subsection, clause, or phrase of these regulations is for any reason adjudged unconstitutional or invalid, it shall be considered severed from the ordinance, and the remaining portions of this ordinance shall not be affected thereby. Section 8, amendment. The County Board of Commissioners may from time to time amend, supplement, or change this ordinance. Section 9, adoption and publication. This ordinance shall take effect immediately following approval of the ordinance by the Michigan Department of Environmental, Great Lakes and Energy, and publication of a notice of its adoption in the newspaper of general circulation of the county. Section 10, repeal all ordinances or parts of the ordinances inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. So that being stated, we have a resolution 10 that would approve this resolution or this ordinance along with an updated fee structure, which is in front of you. And it states that it would go into effect once it's approved back from. So once you guys approve this resolution, I will send that to Eagle, and then Eagle will send us a final approval letter. And it also goes to the paper for publication saying that it's been approved. So that's what finalizes everything.
I'd make the motion for resolution. What, I don't have a name.
2610.
2610. Regarding the soil erosion and sedimentation control ordinance.
I'll second that motion.
We have motion support. Okay. Do we have any further discussion? I do have another question. I do have I'll get to you, Bill. I do have another question too. How does this apply to like data centers and battery storage and green energy projects, or is that, and it's not listed as an exemption?
That's a question for Joe.
Yeah. I don't know. Joe?
I actually didn't hear the question.
The question, does this also apply, this ordinance apply to projects like the battery storage and the data centers and green projects? Does that ordinance apply, or is that an exemption out of here?
Any project that disturbs the amount of dirt in the resolution or within 500 feet of any body of water falls under this Part 91.
Okay.
There's another Part 301 that covers other things, but that's through the DEQ, and we just kind of enforce the tail end of that one for them.
Bill had a question?
Is this the first reading and you're gonna pass it today?
Yes, this is the first time. Well, we've discussed it, but this is the first reading of the approved ordinance, yes.
Joe, under Part 91, does this include runoff from farm fields into the river?
Actually, it doesn't. I mean, I haven't done anything with farm fields at all. If that happens, get a hold of DEQ or the Eagle, and they will handle that.
Okay. Or USDA?
Anything with farm fields or logging, other than if they're hauling dirt out onto the road after they come out of the fields and it makes a mess of the road, then I can enforce Part 91 on that, where they might have to put gravel in the first section of their road so it doesn't track dirt out on the main roads. That's the only thing I can do with the ones that are exempt.
Thank you.
Under the exemptions and waivers that that's things that do not apply. That does not apply to the following. One of them is normal road and driveway maintenance. Need a permit to grade your driveway.
Those are exempt.
Those are exempt.
It says the exemption from obtaining a permit under the subsection does not apply to the following. I would read it as it.
Yeah.
Needs a permit.
I don't think you heard us again. Say again, Beth.
Under the exemptions and the waivers, under section D, at the bottom of the paragraph says the exemption from obtaining permit under this subsection does not apply to the following. And item number 4 is normal road and driveway maintenance, such as grading or leveling. So then you're saying you need a permit to grade your driveway?
Yeah, if they're exempt, we don't do anything, but we have dealt with where people have plugged a culvert up that's at the end of their road, their driveway, and it causes erosion on the neighbor's property. We can address that, along with the road commission also has a soil erosion officer that handles their own stuff.
Well, I think Bob's question was, does he have to get a permit to do his driveway?
No, not from us. Only from the road commission of the state highway.
It's confusing.
I don't believe that anybody should need a permit if it's just no culvert involved or anything like that, just your own private property being able to grade your driveway. That's not right as far as I'm concerned. Something might need to be changed in the wording on that.
Where are you reading that at? What part are you reading?
It's under D.
It says it's not required.
The exemption from obtaining permit under this subsection does not apply to the following.
And I think the thing is how
That may
they
just
read
be
it.
that paragraph needs to be reworded, or sentence needs to be reworded, because that reads to me like
This is
anything in the following
this is related to farming and logging, correct?
Yes.
Is that why?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that's why it wouldn't affect
The homeowner.
a homeowner.
And if either one of those things were a real problem, then we can enforce the code to them, except for they don't have to get a permit. I mean, it says in here that they still have to abide by those rules, but it's not something that we deal with. The only ones I've ever dealt with are logging operations more than anything, where their big trucks come out of the woods and they haul big path of dirt down the road.
I see what his confusion is. Bob, if you look, it says the soil erosion and the sedimentation control permit is not required for the following. If you look at number 4, it says normal road and driveway maintenance such as grading or leveling that does not increase. Number 4 does not require permit. The only one that says does not apply is number 2, A, B, and C. There's A, B, and C under number 2.
Everything.
Yeah,
following around.
no. 4 does not include a permit. It was the A, B, and C under 2.
All right.
That clear that up?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, no, 4 does not include, you don't have to have a permit for your normal maintenance, no. I was like, what?
The following, I assume, everything.
No, just
thereafter.
those A, B, and C things under number 2. Oh, that was the confusion. I think we're good now.
Any other questions?
That's cleared up.
Okay. Roll call, please.
DeBrent,
Yes.
Ardies,
Yes.
Peltier,
Yes.
Hamlin. Yes. Madison.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
There is nothing further on our agenda this morning. So 9:37. It's out. Anybody have a question before I do this? Okay. Without objection, we are adjourned. It's 9:37.